It's the 17th of April 2026. G'day, my name is George. I want to present to you today's message of hope. We'll let that truck run through. Yeah. Good old garbage truck. Alright, well, a few weeks ago I received a marketing email. The subject line included the word Looksmaxxing. My first thought was that someone wanted to help me improve the appearance of my Facebook ads. Or website redesign maybe, yeah. Something to do with digital presentation. So I opened up the email. It wasn't about Facebook ads, neither about website. It turns out Looksmaxxing, in case you're where I was when I clicked that email, is a social media trend aimed at primarily young men, teenagers even, focus on maximizing physical attractiveness by whatever means necessary. So it has an entire taxonomy. Listen to this: soft maxing, hard maxing, even staff maxing. You know where I'm going, right? Each one a rung further down a ladder that starts somewhere reasonable and ends somewhere a long way from it. Yes, you heard that right. Soft maxing is the entry point. It's about exercise, grooming, skincare, a decent haircut. Yep, I can live with that. On its own, nothing alarming. The other side, hard maxing, is where it tips. We are talking about jaw surgery, your implants, steroid uses even, facial reconstruction. That's pretty extreme. And of course the last one, staff maxing, is exactly what it sounds like. It's deliberately starving yourself to change the shape of your face. I'm not even sure if that's I suppose it can be, yeah. But where does it stop? I don't know, but I noticed the suffix maxing, maximizing. It's embedded in that word. It's the idea that your appearance is a variable to be optimized. And that if you haven't pushed it to its maximum, hey, you're leaving something on the table. This is the train of thought. Falling short of what you could be instead. Oh boy, what are people getting up to these days, hey? Now that's a particular kind of misery to sign up for, I believe. Because there is no maximum, who knows? The ceiling just keeps moving, right? Once you're on this trend. Well, I should tell you where this started. Yeah, because I did a little research and Dr. Google said it originated on the incel message boards in the 2010s. That's a long time ago, right? Like 16 years ago. It's built on communities that's based on the belief that a man's worth and romantic prospects were determined almost entirely by physical attributes he either had or didn't. It quickly spread to TikTok. Got softer packaging, of course, but it's more palatable presentation than some. But the engine underneath didn't change much because the message is still the same. You are what your face is. So fix the face and you'll fix your life. That's the sublime image you're going to get. Now, I knew a bloke called Eric. He was a state level rugby player. Yeah, I've spoken to him before. He ran fitness webinars and clearly knew his field. Overall, how would you become a state player? Now, he told his audience to avoid tofu because it's fermented. Interesting concept. And I found myself thinking, but hey, isn't cheese also fermented? What about yogurt, sourdough? Aren't they fermented too? Well, half of what a dietitian would actually recommend, yeah. These are the foods they recommend. Now, I couldn't respond because it was a webinar one of the days, so I filed it away a long time ago. But I keep coming back to it when I think about it. Because if information guiding what you put in your body can be that confidently and authoritatively wrong, I would want to think very carefully about the ideology guiding you, how you feel about your body altogether. Okay, now if this is connecting with you today, or if you know a young man you might connect with, yeah, please pass on this video subscribe to the channel and do give a thumbs up. It really helps the algorithm for me, because I want to do a lot more video that's relevant for you guys. And after all, there's a new video here every day, and I love to have you back. Alright, back to the topic. Now, before I tell you what God says about all this, let me go somewhere closer to home first. Yeah, long time ago, right? In the late 20th century. I arrived in Australia as a child, right? It's a new country, new school, new environment, totally brand new to me. And one of the first things the other kids found was my name. I had to go to primary school. They were calling me Georgie Porgy. I don't know what Georgie Porgy was. I was a new arrival. Yeah. The nursery rhyme didn't quite land for me the way it might have someone who'd grown up here. Georgie Porgy, remember that? Let's not go there, George. Now, I didn't understand fully what they were saying, but I knew it wasn't friendly the way they intended. Kids are cruel. I knew that my name, something that I had not chosen. I didn't give myself that name. That name could not change. Something that was simply entirely was mine. It was handed down to other people as material, and they used it. Georgie Porgy put in the pie. That feeling is older than any social media platform, I'm telling you. The sense that something about you has been submitted to other people's judgment and found wanting. The suspicion that it could just be fixed, changed, improved, optimized. The verdict might finally come out differently. That is the wound Looksmaxxing is selling solutions to. I get it. Somewhere in my teenage years, I stopped caring actually. Thank goodness for that. There was no dramatic moment, no single conversation that turned it around. It was just a quiet internal shift that went something like, hey George, this is your name. I cannot change it, so I might as well live with it, right? It's too expensive to change anyway. Plus, after all, I've been called much worse things since. Anyway, just for the record. These days, I generally like the name. You've got King George, you've got the George Michael, George Martin, George Benson, even George Costanza. Honestly, not a bad crowd to be part of, perhaps. And sometimes I treat it like a stage name, as if that's been chosen rather than given. There's something quietly satisfying about landing on that, isn't it? The name didn't change. No siree, I did. Let me go down the steps. And that shift from other people's verdict to a settled, quiet sense of who you actually are. Now that's something no procedure can manufacture. No soft maxing, no hard maxing, and not anything available at any clinic at any price. And here's what God said to Samuel when Samuel was about to anoint the wrong man as king. I love this story. I'm going to share it with you. 1 Samuel chapter 16 verse 7. But the Lord said to Samuel, do not look on his appearance or on the height of his stature, because I have rejected him. For the Lord sees not as man sees. Man looks on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart. Wow. God sees things so differently. So, as we know, Samuel walked into Jesse's house and immediately sees Eliab. Tall, striking, handsome guy. Got to be the obvious candidate. But God stopped Samuel before he even reached for the oil. Don't look at his appearance. Don't look at his height. That's not how I see. This is how God works. Now, I want to be careful here because Scripture does not condemn wanting to look presentable. I think that's a good thing to do. Everybody, men and women, yes. Exercise is good stewardship of what God gave you. A body, and food, and sleep. Well, a decent haircut is not a spiritual failing. Looking after your health is not vanity, nope. But there is a real difference between caring for your body and worshipping it. Between grooming and obsession. Between building health and endlessly chasing an image that moves further away the closer you get. Bare an irony, isn't it? The question is never really whether you go to the gym. No, the question is what is driving the engine. And fear drives differently to gratitude. Self-hatred drives differently to health. And the documented outcomes of where Looksmaxxing communities lead to, which is body dysmorphia, anxiety, disorder eating, in some cases suicidal ideation. Yeah, these are not the fruits of anything running on good fuel. Stay away from those things. Now, I'm not pretty to look at, so no criticism from me either. Look at this face. How can you love this face, honestly, huh? But that's precisely my point. The standard Looksmaxxing sets is not a standard a real human being can reach. The images in those communities are curated. It's filtered, surgically constructed, and algorithmically selected to make you feel the gap between yourself and them as sharply as possible. It's a cruel algorithm. That gap is not incidental. That gap is the product. Your satisfaction is what keeps you scrolling, you see. Doom scrolling. And a platform that profits from your dissatisfaction, I don't think is qualified to offer you a solution. It has every incentive to keep you searching and none whatsoever to let you arrive. Friends, go back to that verse, that beautiful verse, that beautiful story about Samuel. Man looks on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart. That's really important to see. Samuel stood in a room full of impressive men. God passed over every one of them, you see. And then someone remembered the youngest, the one still out in the fields, the one nobody had thought to bring in. And that's David, King David eventually. Yeah, the David whose heart was after God. Yeah, not because of what he looked like, because what was already in him, David, King David. Looksmaxxing is asking, how do I make my faith enough? God, on the other hand, is asking a different question entirely. And he's asking what is already in you that you haven't stopped long enough to find. My friends, I hope today's message brings some joy and hope and encouragement, because there's probably people out there that's hurting. I need you to help them out, yeah? Thanks for coming to this journey for me today. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and pass on the videos. You take care, be good to yourself. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.